Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started with our lunch, and I want to welcome everybody. And again, thank you so much for coming out on a rainy day. We have a wonderful luncheon planned for everybody today. We're excited to have United States Senator Dr. Rand Paul with us today. First and foremost, before we get started for our opening prayer, I'd like to ask Pastor Ed Amundson from High Street Baptist Church to please come forward, provide us with a blessing for today's meal.
Well, I bring you greetings from High Street Baptist Church and to Senator Dr. Rand Paul. This is a dream for me because I not only support his work in our government, but I want to thank the Lord for his mission work that he does around the world to help people with ocular disease. So God bless you, Senator, and thank you for all of you being here. Let's go to the Lord in prayer to ask blessings for today's events. Lord, we come to you today, and we're very thankful, Father, for the world that you've given us, but we love Pulaski County and Somerset most of all. And Lord, thank you for blessing us with great visionaries and business leaders. Lord, truly, these men and women are the lifeblood of our economy. And Lord, we know tough times are upon us, so we ask your blessings upon each and every one who make the risks and take the work to the streets to make our city and our county the greatest in America. Thank you for this food. We do lift it up before you, and we thank you for those who have prepared it. We know you're going to bless it to our bodies, and so we thank you for it. God, we serve you, we love you, and we thank you for all these things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Amundson. We have got a great program, and first and foremost, I want to let everybody know that traditionally we are a clockwork group. We try to get you out of here at 1 o'clock p.m. I know that that's usually the goal. I want to be transparent with everybody. Bigger speaker, maybe a little longer timeline today. So if we run over 1 o'clock, we're going to run over 1 o'clock. We're not going to rush anybody, so if you need to leave at some point, completely fine, but we're not going to rush any of our speakers. In saying that, we have two for Tuesdays. Our first one from Health Markets Insurance, Brooke Coffey. Brooke, where are you at? All right, Brooke Coffey's going to come up, and she's got 2 minutes to talk to us a little bit and hear what's going on with health markets.
Hi, I have some really great news from health markets, really great news from America. I want to give you just a little information. In the next 2 minutes, I'm probably going to say something that you didn't know about. First part about the American Rescue Plan. If you or someone you know is currently enrolled in a healthcare.gov plan, as of April 1st, subsidies increased. So we can go back through and just update that application with no changes. Most of my clients have been saving between $50 and $100 a month on their premium. If you don't have health insurance, you can still enroll through August 15th. So that's another piece of great news. If you have employer coverage, you can still possibly get subsidies if your employer annual premium is more than 8.5% of your annual income. So if you need information, check with me about that too. And then lastly, we've got job openings. Health Markets needs agents. We need agents across the United States, not just here in Somerset. Your local Health Market serves Kentucky, Ohio, and Tennessee, but I can help put referrals through for anybody in the United States. We have a really disability-friendly job position. If you have physical disabilities that prevent you from doing labor work, it's a really good option for that. Stay-at-home moms, want to stay at home with your kids, another really great option for that. We've got young people just out of high school, we've got retirees, veterans, retired school teachers. We have all kinds of people just being agents and giving free help with insurance. And then the second piece of great news is we have a new local artist gallery. In the back of the Health Markets building in what we call the Bicycle Room, we have Lake Cumberland Artists Association. They have some really great local art, not just paintings. They have paintings, they have prints, they have t-shirts, they have artistic wreaths, they have authors with books. They're giving classes on painting. They have jewelry, classes coming on jewelry making. So check in with Lake Cumberland Artists Association and see what kind of talent we've got here in Somerset. If you need some more information, we've got an info table right here in the back. If you want to see the Artists Association, they also have an info table back on that side of the room. Have a great lunch.
Thanks, Brooke. Our second two for Tuesday from Lindsey Wilson College, Tommy Saragas. Is that Saragas? Saragas. I am sorry. I wouldn't have got that in 10 tries. I apologize. Please come up, Mrs. Saragas.
No problem at all. Good afternoon, everyone. We are honored to be here to celebrate on such a special day. Somerset is one of our, thank you. Somerset is one of our incredible partners. We have, well, first of all, this is important. Lindsey Wilson College is competing in the NAIA National Championship for football on Monday. So let's pause and talk about that for a second. That is a first for our school. We're so excited, and so that leads me to another first I want to share with you all today. We are offering our first online doctorate degree with a Doctor of Nurse Practice Executive Leadership, and this is an innovative program. It's something that we're hoping our RN and BSN partners at Somerset Community College will find interesting. Our partners here with the hospitals in your area, the leaders and nurse managers that are in those facilities, that we're offering that next level so that you can continue to grow both personally and professionally. So those are some firsts for our school. But one of the things we wanted to mention today while we have this opportunity is something that we have been working on for quite a few years. Next year, we will celebrate our 20th year of partnership with Somerset Community College and Lindsey Wilson College. Yes, thank you. Lindsey Wilson has been bringing our programs right here to Somerset, and you guys are such amazing hosts and so gracious. Our students are your students, and they transition from that associate's degree onto a bachelor's degree, and we also have a master's program in counseling. And one of the reasons that's so important is not just the longevity and the relationship that speaks to, but the students learn here, they grow here, and they stay here. They invest in your communities. Many of our graduates have started their own facilities and are employing people in Somerset. One of the largest counseling programs came from one of our alums, Mindsight Counseling here in Somerset and the surrounding area. She employs so many professionals and students in training and office workers and all different levels, and she keeps growing, and that is through your support. I know she's a member of the chamber as well, this community support, and Lindsey Wilson support. So thank you for being such gracious hosts to Lindsey Wilson. We look forward to continuing our relationship and partnership, and be cheering on Monday. Blue Raiders, let's go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Point of privilege, I want to just recognize a couple of people. First of all, the fever detection systems that you saw outside, Silent Guard is providing those. The Team Sears, as we call them around these parts, they're doing a wonderful job keeping us safe today. You know, we were the first chamber in the state to start back and having in-person luncheons in July, and one of the reasons that we felt comfortable doing that is for great partners like that out there. They brought in their fever detection units, and we wanted to show people that we could do things safely and responsibly, and we were able to do that. And today I want to really thank the guys at Silent Guard for helping us out. Also want to thank Somerset Police Department. Chief Hunt is on our board of directors. I know he brought out a bunch of his guys today. They're watching, guys, keeping an eye on everybody in here. Don't try it. So they're doing a great job, and we're really appreciative to have them here today with us. And also, I wouldn't be doing my job, as an ex officio member of the State Chamber of Commerce if I didn't recognize a couple of other special guests over there. We have President and CEO of the State Chamber, Miss Ashley Watts, is here with us. And, everybody's got a boss, right, Ashley? So this year, the chairman of the State Chamber, Mr. Winston Griffith from Laurel Grocery, is here as well. Winston, thank you for being here with us as well. So one thing that we are going to be doing this year is we're going to be highlighting some of our business of the years through our video spotlight. As we mentioned last month and months before, we were not able to have an in-person banquet this year, so we had a virtual banquet, and we want to continue to highlight those winners. So we're going to do Rising Star first. So this is the video we produced for our Rising Star this year. I'd like to go ahead and play that video. We play 2 every month is what we do, just to kind of highlight some of the outstanding people here in our community. So roll that footage. Tonight's Rising Star's professional success goes hand in hand with his hard work, dedication, and commitment to his clients and this community. Amit Patel was born in Bowling Green, Kentucky, but has called Somerset his home for the past 22 years. A proud graduate of Southwestern High School and the University of Kentucky, Amit holds degrees in accounting, finance, and management. During his tenure at UK, Amit notes his greatest accomplishment was meeting his now wife, Jessica. Amit was able to secure a job offer from one of the largest public accounting firms in the nation during his senior year. A year or so into the new position, Amit felt the urge to jump ship from the corporate world and join the family business in the hospitality industry. Amit has since used his family business as a platform to grow and expand in the hospitality industry by forming Thoroughbred Hospitality Group and by serving on many boards, most notably the University of Kentucky College of Business and Economics Emerging Leaders Board, Choice Hotels International Rising Stars Board, and the City of Somerset Tourism Board as chairman. His current projects include new hotel construction on a dual-branded Sleep Inn and Mainstay Suites in Georgetown, a Hampton Inn in Lexington, and Kentucky's first Crumble Cookies franchise set to open in the Hamburg area of Lexington. Community has always played a huge part in Amit's upbringing, and his business truly reflects that. A firm believer that hotels and businesses are more than a place to stay and visit, but moreover, a community partner that is in it for the long haul. You will always find Amit and other members of Thoroughbred Hospitality Group willing to lend a hand. Amit is the son of Arvind and Hansa Patel and is a proud brother to 3 older sisters. Amit recently tied the knot to his college sweetheart Jessica and is adjusting to his new role as CHO, Chief Husband Officer. Congratulations to our 2020 Chamber of Commerce Rising Star Award winner, Amit Patel.
Amit, on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, we would like to present you with the 2020 Rising Star Award.
Thank you so much. When I got the call that I was going to be mentioned for this award, or at least brought up to be a part of the conversation, I was driving and I had to pull over for a second because I was like, first off, who is this? 2, I don't really deserve this, but it takes a team effort. I've got a huge team behind me. We've got employees that have been with us for 20, 25 years at the most, and my management team, the Evan Suttons, the J.K. Garths, the Joshua Chalkshells, the Tim Kellys of the world. This award is as much for them as it is for me, so I'll accept this award on their behalf.
Once again, congratulations on behalf of the Chamber. It's always great to see the youth of our community succeed, and we as a community need you to keep the vision, keep pushing us. So once again, congratulations. Thanks for being the Rising Star.
Thank you guys.
Our second award that we're going to highlight is one of our our 4 big awards that we hand out every year. One of those is our Woman in Business Award. And very excited about this one, a former Chamber Board member here. If we could roll the footage for our Woman in Business Award winner for 2020.
The business world is full of talented female entrepreneurs who not only run successful businesses, but in many cases also juggle the needs of their families. Our Woman in Business Award is all about recognizing the achievements of business women and executives throughout our communities. Kathy Price Sears was born in Short Creek, Kentucky, to Lloyd and Leah Price. By the time Kathy was 15, her family had increased to 7 children, and being next to oldest child, her responsibilities at home had grown. At 16, Kathy started work at the downtown Somerset Pharmacy. Kathy will tell you her responsibilities at home, high school, and in this job formed her impeccable work ethic at a very early age. In 1968, after graduating from Somerset High School, Kathy married Gary Sears, and they soon had 2 girls, Shelley and Holly, and recently celebrated 52 years of marriage. In 1980, she began her career as a merchandise manager in retail with Belk and helped open their store in the new Somerset Mall. She was hired in a supervisory position, but was soon promoted to a buyer purchasing inventory for the store. In 1994, Kathy decided to pursue her career in real estate part-time, but it wasn't long before she was working as a full-time agent and left Belk after 15 years. She worked with a local office, and after 5 years of building a large clientele, went into partnership with Nelson Weaver to form S&W Realty, better known as Key Associates. The office became the fastest growing office in Pulaski County in 2002, and by 2005 was the leader in sales over 25 offices. In 2016, Kathy bought her partner out and merged her Key Associates real estate office with the Century 21 Advantage franchise brokered by Steve Robinson. In only 4 years with Century 21, Kathy has won their highest sales award for 2 consecutive years. Kathy was named the Business Woman of the Year by the Business and Professional Women's Club in 2010. During her 25-year career, Kathy has held numerous positions with the Somerset Lake Cumberland Board, having served as board president in 2000 and voted Realtor of the Year in 2008. She has served and chaired many committees on both the local and state levels, and presently serves as federal political coordinator, having been appointed in 2005 by the Kentucky Association of Realtors. Kathy has been a community business leader for many years and is a past board member of the Somerset-Pulaski County Chamber of Commerce. During her tenure as director, she worked alongside then Executive Director Jack Keeney, raising money for local charities with the Festival of Trees. This led her to the formation of the annual holiday auction, and over the last 11 years has raised $139,000 that has awarded scholarships to 82 Pulaski County high school seniors attending college at Somerset Community College. When asked when she might retire, she will tell you probably never. Her motto in life is always give more than you take. If you meet her, you will be blessed by her positive attitude that comes from her belief that life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. Her servant heart is huge and her work ethic is tireless. Please join me in honoring and congratulating our 2020 Woman in Business Award winner, Kathy Price Sears.
Kathy, on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, we would like to present you with the 2020 Woman in Business Award.
Oh, thank you so much. I was so surprised when they called me, and so thankful to the Chamber and to all my clients, my customers that's been with me all these years. I love being a business owner. I love real estate, and I'll probably be in this another 10 years at least.
Congratulations, Kathy.
Thanks, Matt.
I hope you guys can see why we're so proud of those videos. We put a lot of time and effort into them. Dustin Finnison in the back of the room and his team did a wonderful job working on those. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn our program over to my boss, President of the Chamber for 2021, Mr. Matt Ford.
Good afternoon. Great crowd. Senator Powell's brought a great group in, so appreciate everybody being with us. First, on behalf of the Chamber, all of the guests, we welcome you, as well as our members. At this time, since there are so many elected officials, if you're an elected official in some form or fashion, if you would please stand up. Let's give them a big hand. Many times we don't know the sacrifice these men and women put in place. They take away from their family. They do so much that we don't realize, and thank you all for your service. At this time, we do want to recognize all of our world-class sponsors. You can see those along the wall here as well as at your table. The newest world-class sponsor is the University of Somerset, so if you would, give them a big hand. That's pretty exciting to announce. The next level of sponsorship is the Chairman Circle sponsor, and the newest member of that is Summit Aviation. If you would give them a hand as well. And we've already heard from our newest Ambassador Circle sponsor, and that's Health Markets, Brooke Coffey. Thank you for your speech earlier. Give her a hand as well. As always, it's what a great facility we have here at the chamber, at the Center for Rural Development. Mr. Lawson and staff, we thank you for allowing us to use this facility, as well as Karen's Catering for bringing us a great meal today. At this time, I want to turn the meeting over to Tiffany Finley, and she is going to give you all the new member introductions.
Good afternoon. Please join me in welcoming our newest chamber members. If you're here when I call your name, please rise so we can recognize you. Andrews Travel Agency, contact Stanley Andrews, right here in the middle. Andrews Travel Agency is your newest local option for all of your travel needs. Andrews Travel Agency specializes in both leisure and corporate travel with an in-depth knowledge of the southeastern United States. Their services include finding their clients the best vacation values to meet their budget and lifestyles. Owner Stanley Andrews knows who to contact for quality products and assuring you for a worry-free travel experience. For more information, please contact Stanley Andrews at 606-425-6026 or 676-9868. Thank you, Stanley. Okay, next, the next few are not in attendance, but I'm going to read their names. It's B&B Concessions, contact Mark and Joyce Brown. Bell Smith Liquidators, contact Jeffrey Bell and Monica Smith. Body Fuel Nutrition, contact Carrie Metcalf. Next, we have Frisch's Big Boy, contact Billy Hayes, and I think he's right over here. Located on Highway 27, Frisch's Big Boy has always been serving up made-to-order meals and desserts in their diner-style setting for over 80 years. After our community lost a great owner in Larry Thrasher after a battle of cancer, it's only fitting that a family member continue the legacy of this local landmark. New store operator Billy Hayes is committed to bringing you the same quality food and award-winning service that you and your family have come to love over the past 33 years. Billy would like to invite you to stop by and check out their recent renovation and would like for you to say thanks. He would like to say thank you for the support. For more info, check them out on Facebook or call the local store at 679-8777. Thank you so much. Okay, next we have Innovative Business Concepts. Contact Janine Bennett. Janine, are you here? Right here in the back. Innovative Business Concepts is your one-stop shop for all your business service needs. Their services are aimed to set the highest of standards. Located in the beautiful Lake Cumberland area, IBC services numerous business and organizations in the South Central Kentucky and beyond. Their goal is to promote and support other businesses through printing, advertising, specialties, office supplies, sign-related items, awards, and much more. IBC was founded and built upon the example and standard of Jesus Christ, which is why the acronym also stands for I Believe in Christ. For a list of all their current businesses' services, please contact Janine Bennett at 270-866-3434 or visit them online at ibcprint.com. Next, we have Lake Cumberland Artists Association, Marty Wiles. I don't know if, are they here? Okay, right here in the back. Okay. Located the Lake Cumberland Artists Association is an association that is ran by artists for artists. They welcome all types of artists with all skill levels, including authors and musicians. The Lake Cumberland Artists Association wants to promote people to help them reach their full potential and fulfill their dreams. The association promotes all artists and as well as art organizations, which are limited on space and funds. So if you're an artist and you know an artist that needs exposure, please tell them to reach out and join the ever-growing group. For more information on joining, please contact Marty at 606-294-8084. Okay, just a couple more. Solid Ground Consulting Engineers, Vance Mitchell. Is he here? I didn't see him. Okay, we'll move on. State Farm Insurance, Ryan Collette. Are you here? Oh, right here. Okay. The Ryan Collette State Farm Insurance Agency has officially opened for business in Somerset. Their office is located at Stoplight 24 next to Subway and Master Donuts. Ryan is the 6th State Farm agent in his family. Along with opening his agency, Ryan also celebrated a big life event on March 6th when he married Katie Loftus of London, Kentucky. Ryan enjoys spending his free time hunting and spending time with his family and friends on the lake. Ryan is so excited to represent State Farm and make a difference in the lives of people in the Pulaski County and surrounding areas with auto, home, life, and business insurance, as well as financial services. For more information, contact Ryan at 606-485-2592 or visit him online at mysomersetagent.com. And then the last one is Ware Transport, but they are not here, but it's Dale, Berta, and Nathan Ware. Thank you all, and welcome to the Chamber.
Thank you, Tiffany. At this time, we want to recognize the information booths around the outside of the building. Flashback Theater is here. Andrews Travel Agency, Health Market Insurance, Lake Cumberland Artist Association, Habitat for Humanity, Leadership Lake Cumberland Class of 2020, Lindsey Wilson College, Equitable Advisors, Eastern Kentucky University, Epperson Engineering, Deb's Boutiques, Minuteman Press, the Center for Rural Development, Metco Water Systems, United Way of South Central Kentucky, Kinetic by Windstream, Cumberland Falls State Resort Park, Somerset Community College Recruitment Table, Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Stephen C. Booth, Crown Services, and WTLO Radio and Karen's Catering. So thank you all for bringing your tables and setting up here today. If you would like to do that in the future, please reach out to Bobby. He would be happy to do that. At this time, we want to recognize our Chamber Ambassadors. If you are a Chamber Ambassador, would you please stand? The Chamber Ambassadors make this organization work much, much smoother. Give them a big hand. Sean Daugherty at this time is going to present the Ambassador of the Month. And for this month, it's Shelby Simpson from the UPS store. So give Shelby a big hand. Congratulations, Shelby. At this time, the Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital is our corporate sponsor for the day. And I'm going to turn the microphone over to Dr. McKinney at this time.
This really is a big group. I know that everybody here is really pleased for the progress that we've made and how we've come through this COVID stuff. Appreciate Senator Paul for helping us get through that with some common sense. What I want to do is share with you some things about cardiology that we do at Lake Cumberland. There's a lot of things I'd like to tell you about, but I'm going to focus on one thing, and we have a video at the end that will take it to a more emotional level. One thing that we do is here at Lake Cumberland is we are a regional chest pain center for people with heart attacks, chest pain, unstable coronary conditions. And to reach that level, to be American College Cardiology certified for that, you have to do certain things, and we meet them every year. We are one of the better centers in the region. Just to let you know what that means is the worst case scenario is that someone comes in with a heart attack. They have chest pain, they have a heart attack. We know they have a heart attack. Well, one way that we identify how well we're doing is when they hit the door, how long does it take to get the artery open? That's called door to balloon time. The national standard is anything less than 90 minutes, you're doing pretty good. We are always above the 90th percentile. So we're in the top 10%, not just in Kentucky, but in the nation. We have actually set records here that as far as we can go back and see for other areas in the country, the fastest door to balloon time that we have been able to find is 9 minutes. Well, we did 8. That's pretty impressive. And I would like to say that that's all the cardiologists, but really it's the team approach, which is what all of you are here about, is a team. You know, we work with EMS. EMS sends us an EKG. We know it's a heart attack. The emergency room activates everything and is ready to go. They get them to the cath lab. We are 100 yards from the doors of the emergency room. The team on the cath lab, they do their stuff. The least important person is me, the heart doctor. All I do is stick a balloon in there. But we frequently meet and exceed the expectations regionally, statewide, and nationally, and that is something that we are very proud of. Now, we have just installed a $2 million cath lab to make that job even easier because we can see things better. We have recently brought on a new doctor, Dr. McWanna. He is board certified in multiple specialties and brings not only cardiology but peripheral vascular disease. We have another cardiologist coming on board, Dr. Tyre, and he'll be joining us this summer. We will have a total of 8 board certified cardiologists ready to help you at any time. We service an area of 250,000. We service not only Pulaski County, but we service the surrounding counties as well. And we do a very good job of that. I don't know how the hospital does in other things. I'm not involved in those things, but I can tell you one thing. I came from Birmingham, Alabama. I am proud to be a resident here in Somerset. I love it here. Everybody has accepted me. And from the hospital that I came from in Birmingham, there were 7. We were the 3rd largest. I'll put what we do here in cardiology with what I just told you about up against any of those hospitals, including UAB or the University of Kentucky, because we beat their standards as well. So without further wasting your time, because I really want to hear what you have to say, I want to share a video and take it from the facts of what we do to the emotion of what we do. So can we play that?
I was up back about 100 feet from the house, just picking up sticks, and I reached down to pick up, a handful of sticks, and then it hit, more or less the heart attack pretty quick. Felt a tightness across my back, and I stood up, and I said, well, this is not right. I came back to the front porch about 150 feet away, and I yelled for my son Mike that was inside, and I said, Mike, I think I'm having a heart attack. He said, are you kidding? Dad, are you kidding? I said, no, I'm not kidding. I said, unhook the trailer from the truck. I said, we're going to head out of here. So we're about 45 miles from Somerset. But we got in the truck, started rolling, said call 911 and tell them to meet us halfway. I said it's going to take us 30 minutes to get to Russell Springs. And as we get to Esto Road, we pull in, we can see the ambulance coming. The ambulance pulls in beside of us, and they get me out, put me on the cot, put me in the ambulance. And he said, Brack, he knew me. He said, Brack, he said, I think we have a problem, and I'm going to request a cath team at Somerset. So then we started moving, toward Russell Springs, and then got on the Parkway and proceeded towards Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital emergency room. I had no idea, prior to the heart attack and going through this experience that cath team and the EMTs and the coordination and training had taken place. And then realized it real quick as I saw it in action. But it sure was a lifesaver for me that those teams and the training were in place. Actually, I feel better than I did before my heart attack. Dr. Giannis's words to me, the day after my heart attack, he said, we're going to have you back at 100%. And I took that at heart. I really don't believe I would have made it if I hadn't come to Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital, because time is of the essence with a heart attack. I took my aspirin, the EMTs diagnosed the right thing, the communication with Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital, every bit of each step along that way to saving my life that day. Everybody did their job.
Please join me in welcoming Brack Flanagan. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to present this little piece of what Lake Cumberland does for this community. We appreciate you having us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. McKinney. Thank you to the regional hospital for all that you do. This time, the next corporate sponsor is Kingsford Manufacturing. You're talking about a large employer, and many times we don't even recognize what all is being done here in Somerset, Kentucky. But at this time, Jeff Stockton is coming to speak. Hopefully I got that name right. Close? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here and tell you a little bit about our facility. I know who speaks after me, so I'm going to keep it rolling. I've got most of my presentation is pictures. They're going to be on the wall in front of you. Don't feel like you have to look at me. And I'm just going to get rolling. So I couldn't tell you about Kingsford and Burnside if I didn't tell you about the history of the Kingsford Corporation. And I know that picture's a little bit washed out, but in the car is Edward George Kingsford. He happens to be seated in a Model T, and he's from Iron Mountain, Michigan. Somerset being a car cruise area, many of you know those old cars had a tremendous amount of wood in them, including Model Ts. Next slide, thank you. So you may not know there's a connection with Ford Motor Company. Kingsford married one of Henry Ford's cousins. He was a timber cruiser by profession. Henry Ford was using millions of board feet per week in the production of Model Ts. There were a lot of wood scraps left over. He needs something to do with them. He partnered with folks like Harvey Firestone and Thomas Edison, and in the picture, Kingsford is the guy on the far right, and he's holding a block of wood. They started a charcoal factory in Iron Mountain, Michigan in 1920. One of the things that Ford liked to do was glamour camping. So not the kind of camping that we're used to, not sleeping on the floor in a sleeping bag, but you needed to eat well. And so they went on these grand junkets and took leaders of the time. Circled on the left side is Thomas Edison. Blue circle is President Warren Harding. And then Henry Ford's off to the right. So not the kind of camping that I used to do with Boy Scouts. Next slide, please. Well, times change. By the 50s, cars are there's not much wood in them anymore. Kingsford dies in 1943. Henry Ford dies in 1947. Businessmen bought the charcoal division from Ford, and the Kingsford Chemical Company was formed in 1951. That plant operated in Michigan until the 60s. And believe it or not, some of the equipment in that plant was later relocated to our site in Burnside. Next slide. So Burnside, it was built as the Cumberland Charcoal Corporation in 1957. By 1962, it was bought by Kingsford. At that point, they're Louisville-based. And then in 1973, Clorox, the bleach company, purchased Kingsford, and they own us to this day. And then just some funny site history. You've got a charcoal plant where we're located. Our warehouse is called the Diamond Warehouses because they were named after the Diamond Match Company. And in between the two sites was a propane distributorship. I can't make this stuff up. So Burnside today, you've got a north-looking view and a south-looking view from a drone. We're on about 107 acres. We have about 115 employees. We operate 24/7. Next slide. This is, okay, charcoal is most of what we make. We've got over 90 stocking units, many different kinds of charcoal, different flavors, different sized bags. We're also the only facility to bottle Kingsford lighter fluid. So every bottle of Kingsford lighter fluid in the world was made at our plant. So I'm going to real fast go through the process because I know we don't have much time. If you're interested on your own, the TV show How It's Made came to our plant, filmed an episode. You can find it on YouTube if you like. But the first thing we do in our department called Retort is we basically convert sawdust into carbon. And so you see a big sawdust pile to the left. The product that we make is called char, and that's the building block of charcoal. Next slide. We take the char, we use cornstarch as a binder, we blend in some other items, we press it into briquettes, and they kind of come out, they look like a charcoal briquette, but they have the consistency of Play-Doh at this point. Lastly, we put them in bags. And next slide. And just a quick view of our bottling line. We don't make the lighter fluid, we bottle the lighter fluid, but every bottle of Kingsford lighter fluid in the world is made at our plant. So, the warehouses, and here's where things get a little bit interesting. Normally, this time of year, our warehouses are full, getting ready for the spring rush and the summer grilling season, although this year's been different. Next slide. So we all know that COVID has been devastating, but in a weird way, it's been a business boon for Kingsford. And another factor on top of that, so the restaurants closed, the millennials stayed home, and they learned that they like to cook. And they also learned that they like to grill on charcoal. And if you put the two of those factors together, we can't make the stuff fast enough. We're behind right now. So in a weird kind of a way, it's been a good problem for us. Lastly, we're doing a capital expansion right now. Currently, we move sawdust around with bulldozers. We got about a $15 million investment where we're going to have an automated unloading system. It'll be faster for the people who deliver. There'll be less environmental impact because we won't be burning diesel fuel anymore. And that is just about it for me. Sherry, if you'll flip, I believe we're at the end. Well, we are at the end. There isn't time for questions, and so after the program is over today, feel free to stop by the table, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kingsford. Pretty interesting. If you've never been able to go down and tour that, it is quite a facility, quite something it's great to have right here in our back door. At this time, we are going to introduce a good friend of mine. He's going to come and introduce our guest speaker for the day, Speaker Pro Tem David Mead. If you would, please come forward and introduce our special guest.
Well, good afternoon. It's good to see each and every person here today. So glad to be with you. And I have the honor and the privilege of introducing one of our U.S. Senators today. But a few years ago, I had the opportunity to introduce the other U.S. Senator. And I had been elected about 6 months to office, and I had this elaborate speech planned out, and I was going to say at the end of it, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Kentucky's senior Senator, Mitch McConnell. Well, my mouth got to moving faster than my brain did, and you can probably figure where this is going. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, I accidentally said, I introduce to you Kentucky's senior citizen, Mitch McConnell. And he took it well. He made a joke about it as he came up. And but I can tell you, I've been in office for 9 years, and Mitch has never asked me to introduce him since. But I'll try to do better with Rand. I've introduced him a couple of times before. The last time was in 2016 when he was actually running for president of this great nation. And so he was elected to the United States Senate in 2010. Senator Paul has proven to be an outspoken champion for constitutional liberties and fiscal responsibility. As a fierce advocate against government overreach, Senator Paul has fought tirelessly to return government to its limited constitutional scope. As a hard-working and dedicated physician, Dr. Paul came to Washington to shake things up and to make a difference. He is a devoted husband and father of 3 that is currently living with his family in Bowling Green, where he owned his own ophthalmology practice and performed eye surgery for 18 years. Rand has been married for 29 years to Kelly Ashby Paul of Russellville, Kentucky, and they have 3 sons together, William, Duncan, and Robert. He regularly volunteered to coach teams for each of his 3 sons in Little League baseball, soccer, and basketball. Senator Paul and Kelly are both devout Christians and are active in their local church. And I will say that sometimes I'll be watching the news and there'll be an issue come up and I'll think, why in the world did Rand come out on that side of the issue? But being in government, I understand that sometimes we only get to hear what the media wants us to hear. And so I'll go to his website and I'll read his explanation, or I'll find a video clip of him and I'll hear that explanation. And when I hear it, I say, it just makes sense. And then a couple of weeks ago, we were together in Louisville, and he stood up and he spoke about things going on in our country and where he comes out on those issues. And I thought then, you know, it just makes sense. But I can tell you this much, that we'll never agree 100% of the time with anyone in government. You won't agree with me, and those of us in Frankfort will never agree 100% of the time with those in Washington. But I can tell you that I know that every time that he makes a decision, he makes the best one in his heart for the people that he represents. And that's the kind of person I want representing us in Washington. Someone who follows their heart, who believes what they're doing in their heart, and does it for the best of their people. He's fought hard for our state, our nation, and our district. So I'd like to introduce Senator Rand Paul.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, David. There's really exciting news out of Washington, and you may not have heard this, but coming up on July 4th, 3 people can get together inside without a mask if they've been vaccinated. Do you think we should send President Biden a picture of our lunch today? But I guess I'm not really thinking that I would have expected anything less from the president. You see, the president has sort of a different understanding of the contagion. Apparently, Dr. Fauci has told him, you can catch this thing through the webcam. So you've seen when President Biden does a web interview, a Zoom call, he carefully puts his mask on. So I'm just saying, I mean, you could catch it anywhere, maybe even on your webcam, I don't know. But I don't mean to make light of this completely. I've had 2 friends who have died. I had a staff member who almost died. But the thing is we ought to tell people the honest to God's truth, shouldn't we? Shouldn't we just be honest with people? This is a very deadly disease for older folks and not so much for younger folks. It's also a pretty deadly, significant disease for those who are overweight. So instead of them telling us all this stuff and saying everybody's the same, be honest with us. I think people get it. I think the people are way smarter than their government. Have you noticed the statistics? 85% of those over 65 have gotten the vaccine. I think they get it. But when you try to tell a 19-year-old they need it as much as an 85-year-old, the 19-year-old goes, well, the death rate's about 1 in a million for me. It's less deadly than the seasonal flu. Why don't you be honest with me? Tell me what the risks are of the vaccine versus the disease. They're very tiny. So the thing is we're honest with you, we might have a better chance. The governor's come out with another edict. He says he's going to give you permission to do something, to have some of your freedom back when 2.5 million people are vaccinated. There's no science behind this. In fact, it's illegal and unconstitutional for him to saying this. The legislature already told him he no longer has the power. The legislature came back in January and in a unified, overwhelming fashion said to the governor, guess what? Emergencies have a time limit to them. And when the time expires, the legislature has to have some input. This is the most common sense thing I can imagine. It's one of the most necessary things. It is what keeps the governor from being an autocrat. And I don't say that and use that term loosely. Without checks and balances, if people in government think they can do whatever they want without consulting the legislative branch, we would have tyranny. This is just amazing that he could think this. So what did the governor do? They came back in session, limited his emergency powers, the powers they had granted to him in the 1990s. They amended their own legislation. And so what did the governor do? He sued them. The governor's suing the state legislature, and here's his argument. He found a liberal judge in Frankfurt to uphold him initially. It's going to go before the Supreme Court. But his argument is this: I am the governor of Kentucky, and I have inherent powers. These are granted to me by, I guess, the Almighty, and I can do whatever I want, no matter what the legislature says. I have inherent powers during the time of a public health crisis. Can you imagine? Who would have ever guessed that someone could tell you how many people would be in your restaurant, in your hotel, whether you could open your hair salon, whether you could open a bowling alley, whether you could open a doctor's office, whether you could travel, whether you could go to church, whether you could go to a church school. And the thing is, some advice is good. Some of the advice I even agree with. If you were asking me in March of last year, should you go to church if you're 85 years old and sit in an enclosed area for 2 hours? My personal advice would have been no. But I would have never mandated that you couldn't go to church. See, in a free society, each individual assesses their risk and makes their decisions. You take a risk every day. You're going to take a risk getting in your car. Should we have a governor on your car that says your car can't go more than 25 miles an hour? Cars kill way more people than this. The influenza every year kills more people among those under 25 than this disease does. Should we have mandates on people every year for the influenza? The question is, are we going to be a free society or not? This question is going before the court. This will be the most important case before the Kentucky Supreme Court in my lifetime. It's going to happen in June. I'm worried, frankly, and I'd be interested to see what the legislators say about this. I'm very worried. The court has shown a propensity to give the governor carte blanche power during this. But the thing is they've amended their own statute. Are we going to say that the state legislature cannot amend one of their statutes to limit the governor's powers? Imagine how this could even get worse over time. The federal courts have rebuked him. They rebuked him on schools, they rebuked him on travel, they rebuked him on church attendance. They were sending the police to church. What world do we live in where the police are recording your license plates at church? What kind of world is that? Now, there's one other thing, and I don't think they addressed it this time, but I hope they will. I think we're at a big disadvantage on the checks and balances in our state in that they cannot call themselves back into session. The problem is, from March until January, he basically was king. Even if the legislature wanted to stop him, and they did, wanted to regulate his power, wanted to limit his power, they couldn't call themselves back in session. So I, for one, think we ought to change our Constitution, let the legislature have the power. I don't want them all the time in session, frankly, but I think they have to have that power. Otherwise, we'll have long periods of time where the governor just does what he wants. And look, I'm a Republican, but if this were a Republican governor, I'd be saying the same thing. We've had Republican governors that have acted this way as well. There needs to be a division of power. Power is a corrupting influence. I think it was Lincoln who said, any man can stand adversity, but if you want to truly challenge the character of a man, give him power. How many people will not use power? How many people will relinquish that power and not abuse that power? I have good news and bad news from Washington. The good news is we are no longer going to be sending stimulus checks to dead people. You may recall we sent 1.1 million checks to dead people last year, over $1 billion. It wasn't a small error, 1 million checks. You say, how can this happen? Well, one way it happens is there's something called the master death file. And there's also the Social Security database. In the Social Security database, do you know how many people are listed as being over 112? 6.6 million. How many people do you really think are over 112? About 5, maybe 10 in the world. So we have 6 million people still listed. In fact, there are 2 Social Security numbers still being used. One fellow was born in 1869 and the other one 1874, and they're still being used. We still don't have the wherewithal to figure this out. So the good news is we're no longer going to send dead people checks. The bad news is it's going to take them 3 years to figure out how to do it. This is the insanity of your government. So when people say there's no place we could cut, we've cut government to the bone and there's nothing left, don't believe them. I'll give you an example. In the recent infrastructure package, they're calling reparations infrastructure. They're calling free college, free child care infrastructure. They're calling free health care. They're talking socialized medicine is infrastructure. I thought roads and bridges and locks and dams were things that Republicans and Democrats could come together to support. I'm part of a bipartisan coalition to talk about real infrastructure. But reparations isn't infrastructure. Defunding the police is not infrastructure. Free this, free that is not infrastructure. There's $100 billion in there for something called the National Science Foundation. And you might say, well, the government can be involved in a little science and research. How bad can that be? Well, in 1972, William Proxmire, who was a conservative Democrat, came out with what was called the Golden Fleece Award. The first one he gave was for a study from the National Science Foundation, $50,000 to study what makes people happy. Fast forward 50, 60 years, we get to the present. The National Science Foundation last year had a $500,000 project to see if you take a selfie of yourself smiling, whether or not that will make you happy if you look at it later in the day. So this is the kind of craziness. Autism. You say, well, I have a child or a granddaughter with autism. Maybe government could study autism. Well, one of the autism grants, which was given ostensibly to study autism, was subcontracted and given to some scientific researcher who wanted to study what Neil Armstrong said when he stepped foot on the moon. Did he say one small step for man, or did he say one small step for a man? I'm not kidding you. The researchers got $700,000 and they listened to the tape over and over and over again, and they still couldn't decide. $700,000. There's money like this throughout government, but the recent infrastructure bill that you think will be about roads and bridges is adding $100 billion to the National Science Foundation, one of the most wasteful areas of government. I have a simple bill to try to fix it. They won't accept the amendment. I've tried a couple times. My bill says that if you want research money, we should comprise the committee of people you don't know and have never had interactions with. And if you're doing crazy behavioral science, alleged science, like studying whether or not Japanese quail are more sexually promiscuous on cocaine, I think we could poll the audience. But if that's what you're going to study, the people approving your study should not be other people who study animals on cocaine, because they're idiots also, and they're going to approve your project. So what I would do is I would have a committee comprised of people of the big sciences, heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, cancer, things we could probably all agree are major problems. And I would say, should we study the Japanese quail on cocaine or heart disease? I think we might figure things out. I would also put a taxpayer advocate on the committee just to have some dose of common sense. But they won't have any of this. They'll say, you just don't understand, sir. This is science. You just can't understand the science. And they're doing basic research. Well, no, this has been going on since 1970. And they're talking about doubling. It gets $8 billion a year. They're talking about adding another $10 billion to it. This is the kind of insanity we live with. We borrow more than $2 million a minute. In the last 2 years, we borrowed $7 to $8 trillion. It is out of control. And you say, well, aren't there some good things government could do? Well, I'll give you one thing government could do. You know what Andy Beshear could do if he actually cared or wanted to help people in Kentucky? Why don't he let all your family doctors have the vaccine to dispense to their patients? Some people are hesitant to get it for one reason or another, but they've been to a family doctor for 20 years. Who do you think might have the best influence with them? Their family doctor. You can't get the vaccine through your family doctor. The clinic in Bowling Green's been trying to get it for a year. They've written letter after letter to the governor, and they can't get it. It's a clinic of over 100 doctors. I'm guessing they would convince some people that it was in their best interest to take the vaccine, and yet they can't get it. So really, when they say we're going to obey the science, they should tell us what the science is. The thing is, the burden's on the government. If they're going to tell you to sit 6 feet apart, they should show you the science. Well, it turns out MIT looked at the 6-foot rule and apparently probably has no basis in science at all. In fact, it's probably based on your amount of time, how big the exposure is, and, you know, at one point in time when no one was vaccinated, how many people could possibly have it. But there is some science, but none of the things they told you were accurate about the science. On the masks, we could ask the doctor, but I think this is the same rule as it is in Bowling Green. If you go in a room with somebody with COVID, you wear an N95 mask. You don't wear a piece of your cut-up undershirt. The cloth masks don't work. When you blow virus-sized particles through a cloth mask, 97% of them go through. The N95 mask works, so we shouldn't lie to people. So Fauci's first lie was masks don't work at all. And that was a lie. He told you that because it's what Plato called a noble lie. He told you masks don't work because he didn't want you to buy the N95 mask. There wouldn't be enough left for health care. Could have just been honest and said, you know, we're going to have some limits on the N95 to the public to get them to the hospitals. But then the next lie he told you was that all masks works. Now you see he's got masks peppered everywhere. He's got 3 masks on and he's been vaccinated. So you tell people get vaccinated and still wear a mask. Why? They said, well, you might get a variant or you might spread it to people. I said, show me the evidence. It's the burden of proof of your government to tell you why they're taking your freedoms. They shouldn't just take away your freedom and you got no freedom and you got to prove to us. No, they should have to prove to us the science behind what they're telling us to do. One of the biggest problems we face now, I think, as a country, is there is a mass organized movement to say that we're a terrible country, to say that our origins are horrible, we haven't gotten any better, and that everybody hates everybody because of race. I think nothing could be further than the truth. I'm fine with revisionist history that shows the imperfections of our founding fathers, particularly with regards to race. I think it's been getting better every day. My whole entire lifetime, I think race relations have gotten better every decade. It's not getting worse. It's actually been getting better. There's more intermarriage. There's more integration of churches. There's more voluntary association than there's ever been. I can't remember meeting somebody almost my entire lifetime who's consumed with racial hatred for any reason. And yet we're now told that the whole country's crumbling and we have to teach about how white people are terrible, how Coca-Cola says you need to bow down and say, I am white and I am sorry. Why are we talking about race in the workplace? We're supposed to not be talking about race. Now everything's about race. I'm white and I'm sorry because I've been too opinionated and too arrogant and too certain of myself. And we don't need math anymore because it's racial. Well, that's the most racist thing I've ever heard. You're implying that people can't do math because of race. That is terrible. You know, but it all gets back to this sort of narrative that it's a bad place. We're not a bad place. I think we're a good people. We're a prosperous people. We're getting better. And I think we have to make sure that we don't let people transform this narrative into that everybody hates everybody, it's a horrible place, and it's getting worse. If we do, bad things will come. The greatness of our country came from the freedom of exchange of intellectual ideas, the freedom of exchange of trade, the division of labor, capitalism. You want to see what happens when you get Bernie-style socialism? Go to Venezuela. They're eating their pets in Venezuela. They have more oil and gas in Venezuela than Saudi Arabia. Socialism doesn't work. But that's where we have this divide in our country. Where are we going? To freedom and capitalism or to socialism and coercion? I think the answer is clear. I think America's a great place, will continue to be. I think it's worth fighting for, and I hope you'll be there with me. Thank you very much.
At this time, on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, we would like to name Dr. Rand Paul a friend of the Chamber. Give him a big hand. What a great speech. Thank you for your boldness to speak in your continued effort there at the National House. At this time, we're going to announce the next month. We've got more politicians here. It's great. Judge and mayor are going to be here, and they're going to be here talking about the state of our county and our city. And thank you all for coming next week. It's June 1st at noon, so be here for that as well. This time we do have a few awards that we're going to give away. The first is a 20% off M&W printing, and the last four numbers, 7203. If you've got a blue ticket, 7203, just raise your hand, we'll get that to you. Way back here in the middle, in the back, congratulations. We have a gift certificate, a $25 gift certificate to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Last four numbers, 7366. 7366. All right, Mindy. One more. Mike, you all are just giving all kinds of chicken away. This is a white ticket. 7347. 7347 white ticket. Okay. All right, right over here we got a winner. Walk in. Buffalo Wings and Rings. And then next up we have, this is donated by Lindsey Wilson College, is a $25 Starbucks gift card. And the number is 7293. 7293. Right here in the front. There's so many people, it's hard to keep up. Thank you all. And from Kingsford, we have got a large tote and all kinds of Clorox products. The last four numbers are 7149. 7149. Right back here in the back. Tell you what, we'll just leave it up here if you want to just pick it up on your way out. At this time, if you all would, we're going to stand. I'm going to have Sean Daughtery. Sean, I didn't tell you he was going to do this. Sean's going to come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. You're dismissed. Thank you, and we'll see you next month.